Hello, welcome to the webinar of stress and anxiety. Thank you very much for being here and thank you very much for your trust and your time. Okay, what we're gonna see today. I know you're struggling. I know you're not only feeling overwhelmed, you're not only feeling stressed and anxious. I know you're experiencing extremely uncomfortable physical symptoms, maybe heavy weight in your chest, maybe you have really headaches, maybe you just feel your heart beating, excessive sweating, not to mention the digestive issues or the insomnia, okay? Then you're living on a constant worry at a mental level, your racing thoughts are just getting out of control, and at an emotional level, you feel extremely overwhelmed because everything is worrying, everything is overwhelming, everything is scary, okay? And under this perspective, the first thing I want you to know is that there's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, but you might be thinking, okay, Martha, how can you say that? Well, I know where you are. I've been there 10 years ago. I burned out. I developed high functioning anxiety. I was struggling with it for more than 4 years. And this is why I know how you're feeling at the mental, physical, and emotional level. Okay. This is why I have organized this webinar because after overcoming it, I'm not only certified myself as an ICF life coach specialist in emotional management and super specialized in stress and anxiety, but I'm also organizing this kind of free webinars where I just want you to understand what you're going through. I just want you to understand that what you're feeling is extremely normal, that there's nothing wrong with you, and that it's just your mind going faster than life. Just because you're experiencing and feeling anxious doesn't mean you have a mental problem, okay? That's the first thing I want you to understand. There's nothing wrong with you. And then you might be like, okay, Marta, but then what? Why? I didn't choose this. Why am I feeling like this? Well, this is what we're going to deal, in this time that we're going to be together. I'm going to try to make it as short as possible, but I want you to understand that the way you're feeling is because your mind has learned. I don't know if you ever heard about the neuroplasticity of the brain. Our brain is the only organ of our body that keeps on learning, keeps on evolving, keeps on changing. Every time we learn something new neural connections are built, and then your brain change. Every thought generates a brain chemistry, a chemical reaction. Every thought generates an emotion. This emotion generates something inside you all along your body. Okay. When I say that what you're feeling is generated because your brain has learned to function this way, is because your brain, thanks to neuroplasticity, has learned to be on alert 24/7. Anxiety, it's an emotion. Actually, if you Google anxiety's definition, you will find out that the American Psychological Association defines anxiety. The first word they mention is emotion. Okay? Anxiety, it's an emotion. It's a fear. It's a fear to the unknown. It's a fear to the future. It's a fear to uncertainty, to not knowing what's going on. Okay. And this is what is generating what you're feeling. And this is what is generating how you are going through and the physical symptoms, the mental symptoms, and the emotional symptoms you're experiencing. Okay. But first thing, I need you to understand you don't have a mental problem. You're just experiencing anxiety, probably dysfunctional anxiety. Probably anxiety has taken over your life and is the one ruling now. Okay. But this is just because your mind is perceiving a constant threat, is living on a constant worry. And you might be wondering, okay, but why my brain has learned? Because before, several months, several years ago, I was fine. There was nothing wrong with me. Yeah, I was not feeling like this. Yes, but you don't have to forget that we have been experiencing extremely, let's say, difficult times. First with COVID, then with political uncertainty, third with inflation, with these inflationary times, economical instability. There's fear all around. You just need to watch the news. It's fear, 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 fear. All this, despite you're not aware of, your brain is perceiving it, it's scanning it and saving it. This is why some brains has learned to function on an alert mode, and our body is not ready to be on alert mode. Not to mention your past experiences, your neglected emotions from your past traumas. And when I mean trauma, I'm not only talking about very traumatic situations you might have experienced in the past, because some of my clients say, yeah, Martha, but I didn't have a trauma in my childhood. I didn't suffer sexual abuses or emotional abuses, or I didn't suffer father or mother abandonment. Yeah, congratulations, that's good for you. But despite you didn't experience all these, there are very traumatic situations that are stored at your subconscious mind you're not aware of. Rejections when you were a kid, rejections when you were in high school, problems at work, emotional abuses when you were a teen, Many things can conform a trauma, and we are not aware of that. And this might be anxiety triggered. So we live in a society, unfortunately, full of anxiety triggers. Watching the news, it's a clear example. And your past traumas, all the fears that our brain has learned, your neglected emotions, and your non-managed emotions has generated the way you're feeling right now. But don't worry, because it is manageable. Yes, it is manageable. Anxiety is an emotion. It can be untangled. You can, the same way your brain has learned to function on alert mode, it can unlearn and relearn to function on a non-alert mode. As an example, you have your past experiences before you started experiencing anxiety. Okay. Your brain at that time learned to function in a non-anxious mode. This is why you were not feeling like the way you're feeling right now. Okay. So first idea I want you to get is like there's nothing wrong with you because you're feeling anxious. Second idea, anxiety is a manageable condition. It is an emotion. It has an emotional component, and all emotions can be untangled. And third, you can come back to feel the way you were, or even better, you can rebuild a new you after overcoming anxiety effectively, okay? As soon as you learn how to approach to it. That's it. We need to learn how to approach to it, okay? And because we are not robots, we are not computers. We cannot press a button and reset everything and unlearn everything or relearn everything automatically, okay? It takes time. It's a small process. When I say time, we're talking about weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, okay? No longer. So if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to come back to feel as you were, or if you're willing to feel even better, this confidence and calmness state of mind, this is what you will overcome. This is what you would get when you will overcome your anxiety. And this is what we're here today, okay? So stay tuned, because I'm going to keep on sharing really valuable information that is going to help you out to understand what you're going through and what you need to do in order to overcome it effectively. Then, the third thing that I want you to understand, I'm sure you have a driving license, right? And to learn to drive a car, you need to go to driving school, right? Why? Because driving a car can be a bit overwhelming. There are many things you need to take care of. The year, the wheel, you need to look at the other cars, you need to memorize and learn the traffic law, traffic signs, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do in a roundabout, So with our emotions, with our thoughts, and with our body is exactly the same. Just because we feel it doesn't mean we have the tools to untangle it. Just because we feel anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed doesn't mean that unless we learn the tools and the strategies and the triggers that generate it, we're going to be able on our own to untangle it and overcome it effectively. Okay, this is the third point, very important point. So first point, there's nothing wrong with you because you have anxiety. Second point, anxiety is a manageable condition. It has an emotional component, and as every emotion, it can be learned to be untangled, overcome effectively, and then use it in our purpose. Yes. And the third idea, the third insight so far that we have seen, that you need to learn in order to untangle all what you're feeling, in order to untangle these overwhelming emotions you're feeling, led by stress and anxiety, and then use them in your purpose, use them in your behalf to get empowered. Okay, and this is what we're here for. So you ready? Let's start. Why am I feeling like this? What is happening inside of me so I feel this way? Well, the brain is one of the most powerful organs in our body, and our body obeys what the brain says, okay? The main function of our brain is to keep us alive. Yes, to keep us alive, to keep our physical survival. So the brain, it's scanning through the amygdala, which is a very small almond shape of brain mass located in our limbic system, which is our emotional brain. Our amygdala is the one in charge of scanning the environment. So every time we get into a restaurant, into a building, into a metro or a bus, or into a new space, without us realizing, our amygdala is it's scanning everything looking for dangers. If there's no dangers, you go with no anxiety or stress. What's the problem? That every time our amygdala scans something, it records the information. Okay, getting into a restaurant is safe. Getting into the tube, it's safe. Talking to this person, it's safe. Okay, why? Because our scanning, our amygdala has not perceived any threat. What's the problem with our amygdala gets hyperactivated and starts learning or starts seeing threats all around, that every time it perceives a threat or something similar to a threat, it will record a warning signs. It will record warning signs that in reality, they are not going to help us thrive. And if by any chance my amygdala perceives that going to a restaurant is a threat, next time I might go to a different restaurant. Next time I might even think about going to a restaurant. My brain is going to ask the information wired by the amygdala. Okay, going to a restaurant, is it safe or not? My brain's going to say, no, here it says it's dangerous. And then my body, as an alert, it's going to pull up what is called the surviving mechanism, which is going to release adrenaline and cortisol. My heart is going to start beating. My muscles are getting tense. My lungs are going to receive more energy to breathe longer. And then I'm going to get a tension feeling to fight, freeze, or defend from the threat I might perceive. And you might be wondering, yeah, Marta, but this is not rational. I know that going to a restaurant, there's nothing wrong with it. I know that if I go to a restaurant, I'm not going to find a poisonous snake, or there's not going to be a lion, or there's not going to be anything that really is going to cause a physical damage to myself. No one is going to kidnap me. No one is going to do anything bad to me. So why does my brain has learned that going to a restaurant is something dangerous? Well, this is something we will need to dig deep. It's something we will need to learn. But what is true is that your brain, because of any reason, we will need to dig a bit deeper with each case, has learned this. The more information we have, the better. But we don't really need why or when did my brain save or wire that going to restaurants is different. What I really need is to make my brain to reset this idea, make my brain to understand and learn that it's okay. Going to a restaurant is not safe. Going to a restaurant is going to be a source of pleasure because I'm going to have the chance to enjoy a great meal, be in good company, and enjoy a really nourishing conversation with my loved ones or with my friends or with my partner, with whoever I will share the experience with. Okay. So this is how it works. This is the physical mechanism. Our brain has wired information that is not helping us thrive. And as a result of that anxiety, my body is reacting in an anxious way. My body is activating the surviving mechanism. So all my body is on alert. What's the problem? That the more we keep on living with anxiety, the more we live on a constant worry and ruminating, and the more we keep on believing and avoiding these kind of situations, the more, let's say, incorrect information my amygdala or my brain is going to wire. Because I will start by going to a restaurant is dangerous. Then it would be like going in crowded places is dangerous. Then I would be like going with strangers or with more people is dangerous. Then I would be like going out is dangerous. And then my, let's say, levels of anxiety will increase as a snowball goes down the hill. It will get bigger and bigger and bigger as long as it keeps on going. Okay. And this is what we don't want. This is why it's so important to understand that all the anxious or most of the triggers that I have because of my anxiety is because my amygdala has wired information that is not helping me thrive right now. Probably at that time it did, but not right now. Okay. So understood that, what we need to do is to identify this information that my amygdala has wired that is not helping me to go to thrive in life, and then apply different tools in order to reset them. Okay, that's the most important thing. Identify the real trigger. My amygdala, in this example I was just mentioning, my amygdala has wired going to restaurants is dangerous. Identify it, reset it, and then make my brain to understand that this is a safe situation. Okay, this is what we need to do. Then what else we need to do? Well, anxiety, since it's an emotion, it needs to be approached at a 360 level. We need to work on it at an emotional level, we need to work on it at the physical level, and we need to work on it at the mental level. When I mean mental level, I mean controlling the thoughts, controlling the ruminations, resetting those thoughts that don't help us thrive. This is what I mean with mental level. It's basically learning to reset, basically learning what to identify the thoughts that are triggering my anxious peaks, and then learning to control my thoughts so they don't control me. With the mind, it's or I control or it controls. There's no other way around. It's black or white. And we better control our mind. We better learn to control our mind if we really want to drive our life. If we really want to be the ones ruling. If we really want to be the CEO of our lives. Okay? Not our mind and our thoughts, because when they take control, when they take over, they don't help. Trust me. This is why you're struggling with stress and anxiety. So you might be wondering, okay, I need to work at it at the physical, at an emotional, and a mental level, right? Yes. Okay. Where do I start? When we work at the physical level, only at the physical level, what we're going to get is an instant release of the symptoms. But don't forget, the trigger of the anxiety still is going to be there. Okay. So you're going to experience a temporary release of the physical symptoms, but the situation is not going to change. I might find out physical release, I might find out temporary release, but then minutes, hours later, any other thing might trigger it, and then I'm going to come back. But it is important as well to work on it at the physical level, because my body needs to rest. My body needs to rest. My body needs to rest. Okay, so how can I approach the physical level? Well, one thing that is very characteristic for anxiety is like whenever our brain perceives a threat, it releases adrenaline and cortisol. These adrenaline and cortisol, which are called the stress hormones, are transported along my entire body through the nervous system. And the main result that I get is my muscle tension. Through my muscle tension, what I get is all the physical symptoms that I experience. This is not in the stomach. It's because my muscles are literally squeezing my stomach. The heavy weight in my chest, exactly the same. The headaches, exactly the same. If you Google muscle system picture, you will see how we are surrounded by muscles, and you will see how our crane, our head is all surrounded by muscles. Our neck, our stomach, our chest, our back, all our bodies protected and surrounded by muscles. So when these muscles get tense, they literally squeeze whenever they are surrounded, whenever they are protecting. Okay, and it's this muscle tension, the one that is generating all the uncomfortness, the dizziness, the fact that we cannot swallow anything, and this is why we lose the appetite, the constant headaches, the backaches, all the the neck aches, and all the digestive issues. They are all generated by the huge amount of adrenaline and cortisol our body is receiving through the anxiety peaks, or every time our brain gets alert. So how do we release it? Well, very important to activate the lymphatic system. How do I activate my lymphatic system? Moving. Go for a walk every day, 30-40 minutes. Okay, moving is extremely important. Now that winter is coming, probably you cannot go outside as much as you want. Well, go to YouTube Look for a stretching session, an exercise session, a dancing session, a muscle session, any type of yoga, any type of exercise, even if it's salsa, dancing salsa. I just want you to move, okay? Very important to move every day, 30, 40 minutes. Just find out the activity you like, but move your body. Don't stand still, because your muscles will not have the opportunity or the chance to relax and release and move and get rid of all this adrenaline and cortisol they are receiving from our anxiety fix. Okay. Second thing, very important, what you're eating, what you're drinking. It's very important to drink plain water. Okay, not flavor water, no sugar water, no, water, plain water. We need to eliminate and help our lymphatic system to eliminate and detox from this huge amount of stress and cortisol. Very important as well, the nutrition, the diet I follow. I really need to increase the ingest of fruits and vegetables. They are very rich in water, and they really help to release all the toxins our body is generating, especially adrenaline and cortisol. Okay. Then very important as well to eliminate sugar, to eliminate all elaborated food, go for the natural foods, go for the nuts, go for the fruits, go for the vegetables, go for everything nature can give us. This is going not only help your body to release your adrenaline and cortisol, but as well is going to improve your gut. Yes, your gut and your intestine, the bacteria in your intestine, because adrenaline and cortisol are destroying your gut bacteria in your intestine, and they are the one in charge of generate what's called the well-being hormones, happiness hormones, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and they are the huge amount of adrenaline and cortisol is destroying the absorption of the nutritions and vitamins and minerals our body needs in order to perform properly and enjoy a well-being, overall health well-being. Okay, so you move, you drink, you eat vegetables and fruit, you eliminate sugar and elaborated food, and you start implementing a routine of physical self-care. Okay, this is going to help you out as well with your sleeping, with your muscle tension, with your digestive issues. And remember, you need determination, you need patience, and this is a process. This is not going to change from one day to another. Yeah. The same way you started feeling anxiety overnight, it is not going to disappear overnight. Okay. So very important that you keep on going, and you will start seeing the results after 8 weeks or implementing this new routine. But if you really want to improve, you really need to start doing things. Standing still, complaining, and trying to neglect your anxiety is not going to change anything. Then second thing, how do I handle anxiety at an emotional level? Well, at an emotional level, we don't only need to learn to manage our anxiety and over worrying. We need as well to learn to manage how all the emotions that come together with anxiety, because anxiety comes with a lot of frustration. Do you reflect? Anxiety comes frustration because you don't expect that. You didn't choose it. You know that anxiety is not only affecting you, it's affecting as well your loved ones, maybe your partner, Anxiety comes with a lot of anger as well, because you're just saying that your life is getting ruined because of how you're feeling, that your work is being affected, that your productivity is decreasing, and that makes you feel extremely angry. And this is normal. Anxiety comes with a lot of fear as well, a lot of worry. What if I'm going to be living like this for the rest of my life? What is this going to be? Always. What if I'm not going to be able to enjoy again my vacations, taking a plane, going out with my friends, enjoying with my kids? It comes with a lot of sadness as well, because you miss the one you used to be, right? I know that happened to me a lot as well. It comes with a lot of guilt, because you think you have done something wrong, and this is why you're feeling it. And you feel guilty as well, because you don't want to be this mom, you don't want to be this sister, you don't want to be this daughter, you don't want to be this professional. You don't want to feel like this. You just feel guilty and you just beat yourself up for that. And that increases your level of guilt. And it comes with a lot of shame. I remember I was hiding it. I was like the girl with the eternal smile, I was like, how are you? Good, I'm good. And deep inside of me, I was dying. There was an immense darkness, like a void in my chest. And it comes with loneliness, a lot of loneliness. And because you don't feel connected, you don't feel that no one understands. People is trying to cheer you up, is trying to, come on, but you have a great job, you have a lovely partner, you have a beautiful life, you're healthy. There's no reason to feel like this. And if you think about it rationally, it's true, but you cannot avoid to feel the way you're feeling. You're not choosing it. I mean, you didn't go and buy it in the supermarket, And all this is generating such a huge mass of unhappiness that in the end, it's too heavy to carry. And you just I remember I just wanted to be free, of this huge load I had in my back because I was living with it for too long, several years is too long. And not only that, I had to keep on performing at work and showing up and being the friend and being the wife and being the partner and being the daughter and being, and that was exhausting. I remember on Friday evening for me was like burnout. And then I was spending pretty much the whole weekend at home on the sofa sleeping. And then Monday morning again, starting all over and over and over. And that was too much. And then my body collapsed, because you cannot live forever like this. So at an emotional level, there's a lot you need to learn to manage. Because it's not only about anxiety, it's about fear, it's about worrying, it's about guilt, it's about shame, it's about stress, it's about unhappiness in the end, And this is why it requires an overall approach. And dealing with emotions is something that we have not learned. They should teach this in school because we are emotional beings, especially women, we feel a lot. And if you're a highly sensitive person, as I am, even more, this is why it's so important that you understand that we don't choose what we feel. And the only thing we can do with it is learn to manage it. And this is what anxiety requires. And then the third thing we need to do is to work on anxiety at a mental level. How at a mental level? Well, there are two things here. We need to work at the mental level. First, our inner voice, our self-dialogue. How do we talk to ourselves? I don't know how is it with you, but I was extremely judgy, and really, really, really cruel. I was like my own bully, And I was talking to myself like I will never, ever allow anyone to talk to me. I was extremely hard. I was extremely cruel and criticizing all the time, And at that time, I didn't know it. But afterwards, when I started working with my coach, the coach that helped me out to get out of it, he explained me that whenever I criticize myself, my brain understood it as if someone else would criticize me. He made me an exercise I'm going to share with you. Like, think about your idol, someone you really admire. It can be a public person, or it can be maybe your mom or a teacher from school, someone you really admire. You got it? Okay. Now think about the first sentence you tell to yourself every time you make a mistake or you fail. You got it? Okay. Now I want you to imagine this sentence. In my case, it was "You stupid, Martha." Imagine that your idol will tell you publicly, "You're stupid, Martha." How would you react? How would you feel? I would die. You see? So this is how our brain reacts every time we self-criticize ourselves. We think that just because it's the fact that we are the one criticizing us, doesn't matter. But this is not the way our brain works. And science has proven, neuroscience specifically has proven this. Through mental scanners, they have seen the mental activity, the brain activity, when there is a self-criticism and when there is a self-compassion. And they have seen as well the chemical reactions generated when there is self-criticism and there is self-compassion, when there is fear and there is love. Okay? So this is one thing we need to learn as well to work whenever we manage our anxiety. We need to stop being self-critics with ourselves, and we need to become self-compassionate. Okay? And this is something that for me, it took a lot to learn because it was a habit I was developing for my entire life. But now it's amazing. The way I treat myself whenever I make a mistake or I fail is amazing. And it makes me feel so powerful. And this is the type of feeling I want you to experience. Okay. And then the second thing we need to learn at a mental level to manage our anxiety is regarding our thoughts. Did you know that our mind generates between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts per day? I just want you to imagine, so you understand a bit better how our brain works. Imagine you're just scrolling, with your mobile, you're just scrolling any social media. Let's put Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, TikTok, whatever. And, we have the feed and we keep on scrolling. And, the algorithm from this social media, they just pull up a lot of information that they think we're interested. Okay. And then, boom, all of a sudden, you stop in one post that really interests you. And not only you stop, you click on it and you read it. And you read the copy. And you maybe watch the video or read the picture. And then you give a heart. You like it. And not only that, you save it for next time. Yeah, it's really valuable information. Okay? And then the algorithm from the social media understands, okay, Martha, she really liked gardening. So I'm going to propose her more things about gardening. Okay. And then the next day, you have 5 things about gardening. And you keep on reading more and you spend more time there. Okay? Our brain somehow is exactly the same. Our brain just generates between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts per day. Okay? Most of them we're not aware of. But when we stop in a thought, we give credit to it, we believe it, and we think it is true, then our brain understands, okay, she likes these thoughts. I want to keep on controlling her. I'm going to give her more thoughts of those. This is just a simple analogy to show you that if you really don't control your thoughts, and if you really stop in the thought, believe it, generate adrenaline and cortisol, and then give credit to it, and even you think it is true, then your brain is going to keep on controlling you, and it is going to keep on generating anxiety. Why? Because you will be perceiving alerts all around. Okay? So despite you don't believe it, our mind is lying to us. Your anxiety is lying to you. This is why we need to learn not to believe everything our mind is telling to us, because just because it's a thought doesn't mean it's going to be true. And if you don't believe that, test it on your own. Science has proven 91.7% of the ruminating catastrophic thoughts we think they never happen. If you don't believe me, I'm going to ask you to make an exercise. I just want you to write down on paper and think about a past situation where it was really source of anxiety and you started catastrophizing about all the worst case scenarios that could happen. I want you to write it down. For instance, I was invited to a social gathering, birthday party of my friend, but I know no one. I only know my friends. So I started thinking all the catastrophic scenarios. No one's going to talk to me. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to think I am because of my anxiety. What if I get a panic attack? They're going to think I'm crazy. Just start, listing all the crazy, catastrophic thoughts you thought they will happen. And then I want you to make a straight line. And right next to it, write down exactly what happened, the real facts that happened. I went to the party. No one laughed at me. No one thought I was stupid or crazy or anxious. People was really kind. They were talking to me. I really enjoyed the cake. I really enjoyed the party or wherever it happened. And then I want you to compare it. And then you will realize that all what your mind was trying to prevent you and all the catastrophic scenarios your mind dropped had nothing to do with the reality that happened. It was not that bad as you thought, right? So this is a clear example of how your mind is lying to you. The same way it was lying to me. And not only that, it was lying to me and I was giving credit to it. So I was spiraling down behind it. Okay? And this is why it's so important that you learn not to do that. So at a mental level, what we need to work on is on our inner dialogue and not giving credit to what our mind tells us. Okay? And you might be thinking, okay, Martha, but how do I do it? Well, this is why I'm here. First thing I want you to do is don't stand still, please. Because avoiding those situations that are giving us anxiety only is going to make your anxiety bigger. Doing nothing is not going to make your anxiety to vanish. Taking medication, it is going to help at a short term, in a very short term, because it's going to mean a release of temporary physical symptoms. But since anxiety is an emotion, it is going to keep on growing on the inside. So in parallel, if you don't work on all the things we have learned, manage all your emotions, manage your thoughts, learn to reset your triggers. Well, first learn to identify your triggers and reset them. Your anxiety is going to change. And I'm not only saying that because I experienced it 10 years ago. I have seen it with all my clients, and not only that, this is why science has reported. Okay? So you really need to dig deep and work on anxiety at a 360 approach, mental, physical, and emotional level, if you really want to overcome it effectively. So if you're this kind of person that just wants to release temporary symptoms, what I just told you is going to help you out. This together with conscious breathing exercises, you have plenty of them on the internet, you're going to get it. However, if you really want to overcome it, if you really want to show to yourself and to your loved ones and to your kids, if you have them, that you are strong, determined, and you really want to get out of this nightmare forever. And not only that, use this black episode of your life to get empowered and encouraged and grow and get stronger as you're going to experience as soon as you overcome it effectively. Then you need to start working on learning what you need to learn, on working on yourself. And I know this might sound extremely scary because don't forget, I've been where you are. I remember when I started I really knew I wanted to get out of it. Okay, I really knew it. But at first, I wasn't ready to talk to anyone about it. And just the fact of thinking that I will have to talk to someone about how I'm feeling it, that was giving me more anxiety. Okay, this is why I have developed several services according to the stage where you are, because I know you want to stop your anxiety. Otherwise, you would not be listening to this. I know you want it. Now, be honest with yourself. It's okay. This is a process. Are you ready to face a one-to-one conversation, Zoom therapy as we're doing right now, just you and me? Yes, fantastic. Schedule your free discovery call. 45 minutes talking, just you and me. Not ready yet? Don't worry, but don't stand still. If you still are not ready, I have developed a workbook where you will work every day on your own on every of the 29 contributing factors decided and identified by science to anxiety. And you have the workbook or the workbook plus the audios, which is even more information with more exercises. Okay? I just want you to understand that you can't stand still. Because anxiety is gonna keep on growing. Remember the example I put you before? Like the snowball at the top of the hill, going down the hill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, this is gonna happen. And this is the mistake I made. It is true that 10 years ago, we didn't have that much information as we have right now, scientifically speaking. The brain scans and all the emotional components, how our bodies are connected with our nervous system, and how a thought or information that our amygdala wires, how it's generating the survival system, generating adrenaline and cortisol, going through nervous system, affecting all of our body, generating discomfortness in our chest or in our stomach, you know. Before, we didn't have all this information, and that made even more complicated for me to get out of it, you know. But now we have all this information, and it has been synthesized in a workbook plus the audios. Or if you're ready for something more and you're really ready to dig deep into your triggers so we can unlock them and reset them, so you can enjoy Christmas, so you can be happy in a few weeks, then schedule your free discovery call or buy your workbook plus the audios and start working on your own, at your own pace, untangling your anxiety. This is the most important. You choose, but there's no excuse. Do not allow your anxiety to keep on ruling your life one more day. You don't deserve it. Your loved ones don't deserve it. Your kids, if you have them, don't deserve it. You deserve a life free from anxiety, and you deserve to overcome anxiety once and for all. So here I am as an ex-anxious woman and an ICF anxiety coach specialized in helping women overcome anxiety effectively. Okay? Do not hesitate to write me or follow me on Instagram and send me a DM and ask me any question about the webinar. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your trust. And a life free from anxiety is real. It's just around the corner as soon as you start working on it. So thank you for the pleasure of your time, and see you soon.